My race has been cancelled. But I'm going to publish this video anyway, because I think maybe you'll enjoy it. Well, here it is. Ah, this is proper bog. This is why I've avoided using. Today I'm out for 7.5 miles, covering at least 23 to 25 miles on my longest training run for running a 35-mile ultramarathon. In this video, I'm going to talk through my technique, I'm going to talk through my nutrition, I'll talk through my kit as well, as we go out on what will be my most important run yet. Alright, how's that for an intro? Let's go to the other two intros I shot now as well.
Good morning. I've just woken up in my van and today's the big day. Today's the big day.
Okay, this is it. This is the big one, the final training run before I do my ultramarathon. And the plan today is I'm gonna do the entire Mourne Way as my final long run. I've got a good reason for picking this. It's a one-way trail, which means I can't, there's no shortcuts, there's no cut-offs, I have to commit to this. It's about 23 miles long, and I want to get it done in about 6.5 hours, and then I'm going to have to put another hour after that just on road or so. We'll see how it goes. So I'm currently down here in Kilbrunny. We'll be up here. This is all trail, this is all very dry trail, quite nice, and then it gets more onto the open mountains. So I'll get my feet wet around here, and then this section becomes trail again into Newcastle. Off we go. Conveniently, this is a waymarked trail for most of it. There's a bit where there apparently isn't any markers. And right, I'm gonna walk. I'll explain. Walk the uphills, Stephen. Walk the uphills, because today we are practicing race strategy. This is my longest day out before I go and I do the Dales Traverse, a 35-mile, 50-kilometre ultra in the Yorkshire Dales. This is downhill. We can run this, and I've been training for it for several weeks. We're 3 weeks out, and that, when you're 3 weeks out from an event, 2 to 3 weeks, that's when you do your longest run. And you do your longest run 2 to 3 weeks out, because your longest run takes the most out of you. It takes the longest to recover from. It does the most sort of like micro damage to your muscles, and it's when you recover from that longest run that you will then be at your strongest. But you need to be fully recovered from it in order to be at your strongest. So you do it 2 to 3 weeks out, and then the idea is that then you enter what's called your taper, and then by the time you get to the race, you're fully recovered and you've got all the benefits from that training, and you're ready to run your race really fresh. Spring's coming. Spring is coming. Next week I'll be out only doing 5 hours, I think, and then the week after that maybe 3 hours, and then the week after that, so it tapers down to the actual race. But forecast today is pretty perfect from this. It's pretty cold currently. It's about 5 degrees Celsius in this forest, but it's to peak today at 9 degrees. There's to be no rain today, and the sun is to come out for most of the day, so it's going to be a nice event. I've picked this route because this route is kind of a mini version of the race itself. We're going up this hill. This one's quite steep. One thing I'm trying to do better today is committing to using my poles. I've been trying to train to do an ultra on really only one proper training run per week, and then mostly hiking and shorter runs during the week. So it's not, the training I'm doing is to complete, not to compete. So that's nice. and I'm trying to find a sweet spot where I can basically go all day without injuring myself and potentially do that over multiple days, because ultimately the goal for me is this training. Yes, I'm going to do an ultra, but really I'm training to do multi-day long distance fast packing, hiking and camping trips. So it's a completely different strategy than if I was running this to just try and get a good time. I'm really pulling back on my speed. I'm walking all the climbs. I'm using poles as much as possible as well. These make a massive difference in spreading the load out over your entire body. I mean that your legs don't fatigue too quickly. But what I'm going to do, I really don't want this to be a long video, because if a long video, it means I've spent all the time talking to the camera. And I really need to just concentrate on this today. Everything relies on this. So I'm going to put the camera away and I'm only going to check in every couple of miles. I think that's best. Next time I talk to you, I will talk about my equipment. And then the time I talk to you after that, I will talk about my kit and nutrition. Right. I'll see you in a couple of miles. I just saw a pine marten. It was like a big, long, dark brown cross between a squirrel and a rat, which doesn't make it sound very appealing at all. But it ran across here and dived down in there. That's cool. That's a good sign. Pine martens are a good sign because pine martens help decrease or control the population of the invasive grey squirrels, which carry squirrel pox that wiped out a lot of the red squirrel population. So when you see pine marten, you know the greys are not going to be too happy and the reds will be happy. That was cool. And that was not 2 miles. The reason I've chosen this route is because it's the route that most closely simulates what the actual event race is going to be. It starts with most of the climbing over the first 6 or 7 miles, and then it kind of descends and then it's up and down, and it's a mixture of road, trail and off-road, sort of grassy soft trail that might have some boggy bits. So that's exactly what this trail is like today. There's been a bit of road, I'm now on trail. Way up ahead we'll go off into the mountains where it'll be rough underfoot and boggy, and then we'll be back on gravel again. So I'm hoping that it's a good training run. Naomi, when you find this message, send me an email telling me to buy trail gaiters for these shoes. I've got stones on my feet and I don't like it. Right, 3 miles in, let's talk about nutrition. So I basically want to take on board about an extra 200 calories of carbohydrates every 30 minutes. Now, why have I ever arrived at that? Well, for my kind of weight and effort I'm putting in, I'm probably burning about 300 calories every 30 minutes, but my stomach can't really take that much. In fact, my stomach is my limiting factor in all of this, and why I might never be able to do a really long distance race, because every long distance event I've done, I start to feel sick at some point. My stomach starts to become really acidic. I just feel like I'm not digesting anything. I think that's maybe what's happening. And if I keep taking stuff, it doesn't seem to go anywhere. It doesn't seem to get absorbed. So I've been constantly trying to find a solution for that. That means I can keep taking energy on board. 'Cause you have to keep taking energy on board, because I will be burning 4,000 calories today, maybe something like that. My body doesn't have that kind of reserves in, ready to go format. So once I hit that level, I hit the wall, and my body will then have to, start burning fat instead, which is a slower process. It makes you kind of tired and sluggish. You've hit the wall. So what I discovered that lets me take on that 200 calories every 30 minutes is Tailwind. And Tailwind is a powder drink that you make up. That's why I got my bottles. So I would just drink one of these bottles every half an hour, and then every hour I would stop and make up another 2 bottles, which has worked well for me. But there's a problem with it. First of all those stops add up. So if I have to stop, filter water, refill the bottles, I lose 5 minutes every single time. And if I'm stopping and doing that maybe 6-7 times during a race, 5 times 6, that's a lot of time lost just stopping to fill up bottles. So I've needed some way of taking energy in while I'm on the move, without having to stop and do that. The other problem is that in colder weather like today, I can't drink one of these every half hour. Now, 500 mils every half hour might sound like a lot to you, but to me in summer, yeah, one of these every half hour, 2 bottles an hour, it's pretty common. I'm a high volume sweater. Oh, what's that? Oh, I feel like I'm very disorganized today. But in cold weather, on the other hand, I might only drink one of these bottles in an hour, or one of these bottles in an hour and a half. So if only relying on tailwinds, then I'm not getting my carbohydrate needs. Now, I've been carrying sweets, squashies and other things and biscuits to try and mix it up, but I've discovered they quite quickly start to make me feel sick as well. So I've been trying to find some kind of solution that doesn't make me feel sick. I've used gels in the past, and gels have always made me feel sick really, really quickly, which is why I went to the tailwind. But one thing I never tried is flavorless gels. I don't know why I never tried flavorless gels. I just assumed the lack of flavor would mean it was gross and that would make me feel sick. But actually, it turns out flavorless gels go down quite nicely. And these ones especially have been going down quite nicely. Brand called Perform, based in County Mayo in Ireland, which is nice. And I found I could knock these back about one every half hour. Again, seems to be my limit, and it won't make me feel sick. So I'm carrying tailwinds and flavourless gels. I'm not taking anything else. This is my first time doing a distance this length where I'm only relying on a couple of energy sources. I'm just trying to do everything I can to not put a mix into my stomach. We'll see if that works. I've never managed to do this kind of distance and not have a weird stomach no matter what I eat, so maybe that's the secret. Maybe stripping back on the flavours, dropping the sweets, dropping the cakes, dropping the biscuits is the solution. And it's tricky because in an ultra race, we're still going uphill, that's why I'm walking. In an ultra race, you'll get to the aid stations and they've got all kinds. There's cakes sitting, there's boiled potatoes sitting, and in the past I can't resist some little spuds. Knock down some spuds, I'll grab a bag of crisps, munch those down, and I think actually my stomach just can't take it, so I'm going to have to carry everything I need and maybe keep it simple. But I'll let you know how my stomach feels at the end of this. Right, we'll check back in another couple of miles and then we can talk about my kit. Oh, we can run again. Sun's finally out. That is me. I mean, I'm only 4 miles in, but I thought I'd make a point here because that's me off the trail, and we are now onto, well, it's still a trail, but it's no longer a nice forest gravel track. It's now a wet, slippy, rocky, more technical trail underfoot here. But the sun's coming out, so I'm warming up. Alright, 5 miles in. Time to have a little bit of a chat about my kit, and let's go from, I don't know, we'll go from top to bottom. I've got a little trail running cap on, help keep my head warm, keeps the sun out of my eyes. I had a buff around my neck, or not a buff, a tube scarf. Buff is copyrighted. Here, it's good for Covering your neck adds a lot of heat, and taking it off vents a lot of heat. Then I've got, underneath here, I've got a really thin t-shirt. I have been wearing a base layer most of the winter, but it's too warm today, so I've got a really thin t-shirt. Then over the top of that, I've got a windbreaker jacket. Now, this is just like a really cheap Sports Direct. I hate Sports Direct, but I bought this years ago, so I'm gonna wear it. Sorry, I burped there. Whew, that was gross. There's no rain forecast today whatsoever, but it's kind of on the cooler side, so I wanted something that's breathable as possible, and this isn't waterproof at all, so that makes it more breathable. I do also then have in my backpack, I've got too much stuff with me to be honest, I've got the Harrier Exmore Pro. It's a highly breathable showerproof jacket, so it's a lot more breathable than most waterproofs, but it makes it slightly less waterproof, but which means that it's good if you're out and it's like on-off showers, so it's really good for sort of spring, summer conditions. Very, very lightweight, and it's in my pack. I do also have a base layer in there, like an extra warm layer. Probably not use it, but carrying the extra kit helps to simulate again the amount of, because I'll have required kit on the day that I have to carry, and that helps simulate it. Plus, if I do fall over and injure myself, you know, and start to get cold, I've got that to put on. I've also got first aid kit, a poop kit in case a moment of desperation arises, and an emergency foil bivvy. So again, if I fell, injure myself, I crawl inside that. And then I'm wearing on the top here, this is the Harrier Kinder 10 litre trail vest. I've got my 2 soft flasks on here. My water, I've also got a water filter carrying in here in case I need to stop and top up and fill up. Then I got a pair of my dinosaur trail shorts. These are made by Chubbies. These are expensive. They ship from America. They are the most comfortable trail running shorts I've ever used, but they cost over £100 by the time they come. Over 100 quid in a pair of shorts. Seems ridiculous, but the shoes I'm wearing cost me 130. Actually, this is stupid. Shorts, 120 quid, 10 quid for a pair of shorts. People will say that's really expensive. These shorts will last me 5 years. I'm wearing a pair of shoes that cost me 130 and they'll last a year. And nobody blinks about the price of shoes, but they'll blink about the price of shorts. Why is that? And then, yes, my shoes. I've got the Topo Vistas, which are wide toe box, sort of barefoot style, but they're also cushioned. Previously, I've been running in the Pursuits, which have a much thinner sole, making you feel a bit more connected to the ground. But because so much of this event is going to be on harder surfaces, I wanted that extra bit of cushioning. And actually, these have been great. Now, downside with them is they do carry a bigger risk of rolling my ankle. I haven't done it yet, but I've come really close to doing it. My ankle's sort of started to go, and that doesn't happen with the Pursuits. I find the higher the shoe, the more that creates a lever for your ankle to roll over, which is one of the reasons I've avoided this kind of shoe for a while, but these have been working great. Happy. Right, we are now at Leitrim Lodge, and this is close to where we're going to be leaving the security of the trail, because we're heading up into the mountains. There's a bit of trail to go first, but it's going to feel a lot wilder shortly. Boopity boopity boop. Yeah, there's the sign. So we're going up that way. And this is a fairly steep uphill, so camera away and get the poles out. Oh wow, it just got a lot colder, a lot faster. I think I've been protected by the wind, or from the wind by the hill there, but it's hit me now. I might end up needing those extra layers after all. Right, we're leaving this trail and we're heading in this direction. I'm now officially in a part of the Mournes I've never been. There's the marker post. This is the section. Never been on it. Never been on it. This will eventually lead me to. I mean, I've been on bits of it. This will lead me over the mountains, and we'll end up at Spelga Reservoir eventually. We're 90 minutes in, which is a good place to take stock, because that means I've done a quarter of the, well, not a quarter, well, this is kind of confusing. So I need to be out on my feet for at least 7 hours, but I think in order to get the right pace that I need, I want to get the one way done within I think around 6 hours. So that means I want to be at the halfway point by about 3.5 hours, because it's mostly downhill the other way. So that's what we're pushing for, to hit 12 miles by 3 hours, so 3.5 hours. So we're on target. Oh, look at this. I think I know these people. How's it going?
How you going?
Yeah, I can hear him. Alright.
How are you?
I'm alright.
Ready for me to fall?
I'll let yeah. Come through here, see me fall.
I always fall.
Hey Johnny.
Hi, are you Stephen?
Go on, fall.
Yeah, you want one? One delivered one?
That was disappointing.
Sorry. Stephen, tell me this. Did he fall deliberately that day?
No, he just can't help himself.
You see, that guy doubted me.
He did one day jump in mud for me.
Yeah.
Stephen offered me to come and join them this morning, but
Sorry.
I'm antisocial, plus they were starting at 7.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to do that. You might recognise Stephen from such videos as, I can't remember the name of that video.
Donard one, and then there's, what was it, Donard, 100 Donards, and
Lots of Donards, yeah.
and then we did the 7s.
We did 7s.
We did that training run as well.
We did training run, he fell over
Yeah.
the mud. Right, you have to catch up with him now. Are you the slowest runner?
Yeah. See ya. Take care.
Did you leave any of your snacks stashed?
They're sitting there, obvious. Can't miss them.
Right.
Roast chicken.
Roast chicken. Stephen told me that group that was out, they're well organised. This is the benefit of going out with a group of people. One of them went out and stashed snacks somewhere along the trail, so they haven't had to carry all their food with them. Socks! I forgot to mention my socks. There's my socks. That's a pair of Harriers double layered anti-blister trail running socks. That's on my feet. I combine those with trail skin, which is like a salve, a balm that has been amazing in preventing blisters. And that's me fit check. That's my kit. Right, onward. Look at that. That is a nice view. Whew. You can just about see the trail I'm heading to. It's way over there. So I gotta get down in this valley, up that way a bit, and then cross over. So far this has been drier underfoot than I was expecting. I mean, it's sunny today, it's dry today, and it was dry yesterday, but it's rained the day before that, and we've had so much rain recently. So it's been a pleasant surprise. This is nowhere, oh dear, excuse me, I just burped. This is nowhere near as boggy as I thought. Don't know why I've skipped, and that's the reason I've avoided this section. I spoke too soon. The trail has kind of disappeared and turned into bog. It's going so well. Either that or I've gone off trail. Have I gone off trail? I don't think so. I think I can see a marker post away down there. Maybe it'll be drier over here. It's not fast going. And there's there's grass everywhere. So the ground is really uneven. When I'm stepping, my feet are just sliding left and right. So I'm a bit reluctant to run at any speed on it in case I roll my ankle, and that didn't help at all going over there. I'm just gonna have to wade through it. Well, now my feet are soaked. Oh well. The map is showing some kind of small bridge up ahead. Looks like we'll cross a river but there, and then we'll follow that other river up the right hand side and then cross over to the road. That was slippy. I've now just embraced the wet feet. Whoa! This is the slippiest kind of ground where you've got grass and then water going over the top of the grass. That's actually quite refreshing on my feet. It's warm today, so I think my feet will dry off. There's the bridge, as promised. It's quite a nice little bridge. If my feet don't dry out and it becomes a problem, I've got a pair of backup socks and extra trail skin salve in my backpack. But oh, look at that! That's a nice view. That's a lovely view, babes. Oh wait, this way. Here we go. Crossing the river. Ah, my feet are already wet. Stuff it. There we go. That's me back onto some trail. It's now downhill for a mile or so, and I'm going to put the camera away and just run this. That section was fun, but it was slow, so I've lost. Yeah, it slowed me down quite a bit. So I'm just going to run this next bit. Cheerio. Skirting around, contouring around Hen Mountain, which is going to bring me into Spelga Valley, Spelga Glen, across from the reservoir. And there's a river down there that I'm going to refill, I think, my water bottles from. I've just added Tailwind to my bottle. It's empty. This one's nearly empty, and I did a hydration check back there, and I'm a little bit dehydrated. I haven't been super strict about drinking as much as I should, but it's alright. It's just mildly dehydrated. I've only got about a mile to go until I get to the river anyway, so there'll be water soon enough. But there has been some other sources of water along the way, but you're better taking from the cleanest available source to start with, even when using a filter. What are we like time wise? 2.5 hours. So 2.5 hours, we're 9 miles in, so yeah, got to do 3 miles in the next hour. I think that's doable. A lot of it's uphill though. Hopefully it's drier though. I don't know if you can tell, I'm a little bit more breathless. I find it harder to talk in this video than some of my other training videos. And I think that's because today really feels like it matters. So I'm not really having fun today in the same way. This feels serious. I will relax once I pass the halfway point if I'm still kind of on schedule. But until I hit that halfway point, I'm kind of feeling a bit anxious, a bit nervous. I didn't sleep last night very well either. It always happens. Today feels like a race. This feels like I was nearly as nervous last night as I get before I do a race. And maybe not nerves. I don't know if it's nerves. Maybe it's just anxious. I don't know. My mind is kind of chaos and thinking about all kinds of things the day before a race, and I don't really sleep that well. So I didn't sleep well last night, which I guess was a good thing, because that means today more accurately reflects suffering. On race day I'll probably have about 5 hours sleep, because it's just, my sleep's always bad before a race. And I started today with sort of a heaviness already on my legs, because, you know, I was out camping on one night this week, so I was out with a heavy backpack on, hiked up the mountain, and then yesterday I ran for an hour. So I've started today not fresh, but that's the whole point, because the long run is shorter than the actual event. You want to simulate that late stage, that late event fatigue by tiring yourself slightly before you do your long run. So that's why I didn't take like a week-long break to fully recover before doing this, because you don't want to be fully recovered when you're doing your long run. You want to be going into it feeling a little bit fatigued, a little bit not fresh. Ah, this is nice. I should just run. Shut up, Stephen, and run. This is a really nice surface to run on. I can thank the sheep for that. Bouncy, 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 bouncy. Ah! Ah! I just slipped there, shot off that direction and landed. I've landed hard on my hip. I mean, I know I was trying to simulate the race, but I didn't want to simulate hurting myself. Look at this slime hanging off me. Does it look like I fell over? Because I did. Everything's wet now. The gloves are soaked. Well, I guess I'm glad it happened on a sunny day when this stuff might dry off, rather than being out running in the rain and getting soaked. Not thrilled. I don't think I'm hurt. Just slightly bruised. Gotta watch where I put my feet. That's one downside with these shoes. They don't have a super aggressive tread on them. It's not a tread that's designed for muddy, slippy ground. It's more a tread that's designed for mixed terrain. But shoes that are really good on mud tend to not be comfortable to run on long distance or there's a wind bush. The flowers on this taste like coconut. Apparently. To me they just taste like kind of tangy and flavourless. I nearly did it again. I think it's this ground is treacherous. It's mostly nice and dry like this and really nice to walk on, but every now and then it's wet like that and incredibly slippy, and you can't really see it because it's the same colour as the non-slippy ground. Yeah. We're almost in sight of Spelga Dam. If you look up ahead here, that valley, that glen, that's up into Spelga's up that way. So we're heading roughly this direction, and then over that hill we'll be going down, and then we'll be crossing them, and then we'll be going straight up that. So that over there doesn't look very big from here, but that's going to be probably my steepest climb of the day. I'm gonna knock back half a litre of just pure water before I top up my tailwind bottle again. I'm just trying to sort of, I don't know, as a cleanser, a palate cleanser, a stomach cleanser, just to have water and nothing else in my stomach to sort of, maybe that'll reset my stomach for when I start dumping sugar into it again, hopefully. And I'll top this bottle up at the river up here. Going up there, not looking forward to this climb. Here's the bridge. Oh, look at that treacherous rock. This is the thing about the moor, and some of the rocks, grippy, incredibly grippy, unbelievably slippy. You can't trust it. Right, I'm going to stop here for 5 minutes, refill all my water bottles and transfer some of the gels and nutrition and stuff that's currently in the back of my pack and put it in the side pocket so I can access it. We're nearly halfway. It's hard to get these gloves on once they get wet. Oh, temperatures drop quite a bit. There's no sun getting in here and there's a cold wind blowing. I'm nearly colder now than I've been at any other point today, which is strange because it's now 12:30. This should nearly be the warmest part of the day. Right, climb, climb, climb. I reckon the poles are going to be coming back out. Hi sheep! What's happening? Here we are. Oh, look at this tiny little gate. There's a man on the bike. Right. It's a pretty fast bit of road that. Right, I think we're going this way. I once accidentally came straight down that. It's quite steep, wouldn't recommend it. Oh, turning off, uphill, climbing up that way, up to the summit of Butter Mountain. Butter Mountain is called Butter Mountain because there's actually a strange natural phenomenon. There's a strange thing that happens up there. There's a substance, sort of a relative of crude oil that seeps from the ground. It's actually a delicious butter, and every morning the locals come up, make toast, and take the natural crude butter from the ground and spread it straight on their toast. That's a lie, I made that up. I slipped and fell again. Whew. That's me at the top of the biggest climb I'm going to do today. Spelgo Reservoir is just over there, and I'm heading off in this direction. The ultramarathon's got about 1,400 meters elevation, over 35 miles, and this today has got 1,300 meters, over 25 miles. So in some ways the terrain is tougher today, just the distance is different. Right, we are going over there, down the other side. Didn't actually have to come up here, but I wanted to touch the high point. Right, from here onward, it's mostly downhill. Well, it averages out downhill. There is a few little climbs. Forgot to check my watch. We're at 12.5 miles, and I've done it in 3 hours and 44 minutes. So it's a bit slower than I'd hoped, but there were sections of that have been a lot less runnable than I thought they would be, and I've been slower, so I think that's all right. There are no markers up here, no way markers anywhere I can see, so I have to go that way. I just checked a different map and it doesn't have me going that way. It has me continuing this way for a little bit more. That makes more sense. The OSNI route has me avoiding the bog. Looks like it's a straight line, so I'm guessing it follows a fence. We'll keep following this and see where we end up. Aha, that's interesting. So it seems that Harvey Maps have got the route slightly wrong. I don't know if they were going from an older version of the Mourne Way and they haven't updated it, but this is obviously the proper route. I might send them an email and tell them they need to update their map. Well, they're right about the bog. My feet were just starting to dry out too. That's why I quite like the mapping app that I use, Hiker, because you can get maps from different providers. So I'm able to swap between Harvey Maps and OSNI for Northern Ireland. Sometimes different mapping companies map the area slightly different. Yeah, good. Oh, and I've got a discount for Harvey Maps, by the way, which if Naomi reminds me when she's editing this video, I'll stick a link down in the description. Oh, I'm getting cold. This is the highest point today, so it's cooled down quite a bit. My hands got soaked earlier and they haven't dried out yet, so I've got cold hands now. I do have spare gloves in my backpack, but I'm being kind of stubborn and not getting them out because I know that in 20 minutes I'm going to be down out of the wind. Ah, this is proper bog. This is why I've avoided using... Oh! I started to properly sink.
Artax, you're sinking!
And then it sort of slowed, but I didn't hit the bottom. I was still going down, so I just ran for it. Yeah, this is why I haven't really used the Mourne Way before to train off for running, because I heard it was pretty boggy in the middle, and yes it is. I was wrong about over there. Over there isn't the highest point today. The highest point's up there. That's Butter Mountain. Can't remember the exact height of it, but it's, I'm guessing 400 meters, maybe 500 meters. Tiny patch of snow, just to give you an idea of how cold it is today. Woo! Alright. Let's leave it a mark. There's the reservoir. There's Hand Mountain. I started way over there somewhere. Alright. Oops. I'm cold. Let's just get off this mountain. Oh, look at this! All the people with I nearly slipped and fell again. Wait till you see the cars down here, it's astonishing. All these people will have come to climb Dawn, which is over there, and no one will be up here. There were 2 people up here, and they climbed up from Spelgar. Hardly anybody comes up here. Everybody goes that way. They'll do like 1 hike or 2 hikes and just popular hikes, and then they never go anywhere else, but there's so much more to explore. I mean, the cars are right down the road. This is not a good, this is an indication of how things are going to be in summer. It's not a good one. And honestly, they could do with a better car park down here. The car park down here is pathetic, and it's not as if there isn't space for a bigger car park. Newry Morning Down Council recently started charging £5 to park down in Kilbrony Forest Park, and apparently since they introduced the charges, they've raised, I can't remember what it is. Is it $500,000? It's hundreds of thousands of pounds. Anyway, apparently it hasn't been spent on anything yet. Maybe a little bit of infrastructure up in the mountains would be good. Don't think you can park there. Just, you know, a suggestion. Because that is going to be a nightmare in summer. In summer, the cars are parked all the way down here, and it effectively turns this into a single lane road, and you've then got a mile of cars to try and get past if anybody's coming the other way. Not good. Here we go, down to Fuffney Reservoir. We're steadily going downhill. I can feel the air getting warmer, which I'm welcoming. We're 14 miles in, and 14 miles in, how am I feeling so far? I feel fine. My hip and my groin are hurting a little bit. I think when I slipped that second time, I very mildly pulled my groin, and I'm now kind of if I move a certain way, I feel a little bit of pain. It's not too bad, but it's not ideal. But again, this is why you do your long run 3 weeks in advance. So if you hurt yourself, you heal up in the in-between as well. I'm a little bit cold, but not badly cold. I'll warm up soon enough. This is an interesting area here. Where I am right now, this is going to look amazing in about 40 years time, because recently they planted a bunch of native trees in here. Right to the left of me there, that nasty bit of wasteland, that was a bit plantation forest, and actually it looked quite nice. It was a nice bit of green in the middle of an otherwise barren part of the Mournes, but it was completely clear felled yesterday. It was commercial forest, monoculture, so it was always going to happen, but it's left this area looking horrible. But this bit's all been planted now with native trees, so over the next 20, 30, 40 years they're going to grow up, and this will become a lovely little native woodland area. But I don't think it'll be mature looking in my lifetime. Well, that's depressing. This way. This used to be a really nice spot to go and camp. Even though it's right beside a road, the forest was so dense that it cut the road noise, and you couldn't really hear the noise of the road. Oh no, I think I stepped in some frog spawn. You couldn't really hear the noise of the road, and it's the only place in the Mournes where you could camp beside water and have trees beside you. It was kind of nice. It felt a little bit alpine. Oh dear. And now it's destroyed. This is actually the very first place that I wild camped. Frog spawn everywhere. The frogs are I think one just jumped. The frogs are doing really well this year. I feel like that's the one thing I'm seeing improving. Our levels of amphibians. Yeah, very first place I wild camped was here in the winter, and it was, whoa, look at that. So much frog spawn. And it was a brilliant spot. There's an open area there where people camped, and then there's loads of bits in through the trees, and you had a water source. And now it's all gone. End of an era. And I don't think it's been replanted yet. I don't know. Has it been replanted? I don't know. I just hope when it gets replanted, it gets replanted with mixed trees rather than. I'm really tired. I should stop. So stop talking, Stephen. Just run. Just run. Okay. I camped over there somewhere. Here we are. Pophany Reservoir. We really hope you enjoy the activities that are allowed. I hate these signs because it's like, here are the 3 things you can do, and then here is the massive pile of things you're not allowed to do. I've had a conversation about this with sort of people about signage, and to me this signage is unwelcoming. I know there's things that they need to ban and say you can't do them, but why not have the things you are allowed to do be bigger? You know, you can have those 3 things, 1, 2, 3 bigger, and then have the negative stuff smaller. I mean, no shooting. I'm all up for that. I prefer not to get shot while I'm out for a run. No boating or jet skiing. And there's a lot of the stuff makes a lot of sense, but signage can be designed in a way that's a bit more welcoming. Ow! 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 Who put gorse bushes along the side of this path? I'm getting shredded up. Ow! Ow! I'm stopping to stretch out my hip a little bit. I'm a bit concerned. Last time my hip started to hurt like this, it got worse and worse, and I ended up walking, so just gonna do a nice easy long hip stretch. I think when I slipped and fell, that kind of like jerked it and cheesed it off, and now it's
and now it's acting the maggot. I can feel the stretch. This is great content. Okay. Hopefully that helps, because there's still a long way to go. That was probably a stupid idea. This is Happy Valley. This is Unhappy Stephen. I just slipped again. It's the ground here is sloping that way, and it's been sloping that way for the entire like last 6 miles or so. And my left leg is my weak leg, and it's on the lower side, so it's having to work harder. I think that's why it's getting sore, and I keep slipping as well. I've slipped 3 times now and kind of jerked the muscle. I might get my poles out even though I'm on a flat, and then just use the pole to kind of stabilise me down the left side to try and stop me slipping, because I can't keep doing this. Yeah, that's helping. That's helping a lot actually. When I'm putting the pole down, I feel my left leg isn't having to work as hard as it was. So yeah, I'll do this for a bit, I think, until we get on to more even terrain. Ooh, that's not good. I've 16 miles in, and I've just had a sudden wave of wooziness. I'm not sure if I was just maybe I was pushing too hard there for a bit and didn't breathe enough, but I just started to feel a little bit funny. So I'm gonna walk for 5-10 minutes. Hopefully it passes. Ooh. It's 15 minutes later and I'm fine, I guess. My available energy is not what it was. I mean, I've been on the move for 5 hours, so it shouldn't be. You know, I've been topping it up with the gels, and I've been doing that. But at some point, I'm burning energy faster than I'm taking it on, and I think I'm maybe starting to get into that. So it means, you know, when I try and push a bit, the energy's not there, and it just kind of makes me feel a bit not so good. But I feel fine now, which is good, because I'm not even halfway into the full distance of the actual event yet, and this is not a time to be feeling sick and unable to move. But it's okay, I can still move, I can still run. We're still going, and we're almost off the mountains. There's Millmore Lodge is over there, Millmore Lodge, and then just beyond that hill over there is Tollymore Forest. So I have another half mile, then I'll be onto a track, then I'll be out of the mountains and into the forest. 2.5 hours to go. Long day. That's me onto the Tracy track, and I was about to say the sun has come out. The sun is nearly out. It's warming up. It's warming up. This is absolute ankle breaking terrain here. Don't break your ankles, don't break your ankles, don't break your ankles, that'll turn into cankles. That's me into Tollymore, but you're probably fed up looking at Tollymore from my training videos, so I'm not going to shoot too much in here. I need to stop and fill up my bottles for the last time and then just get through the forest. So it's taken me about 5 hours to do 17 miles. Right, 17 miles is half the distance I need to do for the actual event, I think, isn't it? 17 plus 17 is 35. No, it's 34. It's close enough, right? And I wanted to do this in, 10 hours or under. So I guess I'm still. My brain is not functioning properly. My brain is actually not functioning properly. I've realised. You said you weren't going to talk and anymore. I know. I'm a liar. I've got to that point where I'm like, ugh. I think I've hit the proverbial wall. Maybe, who knows? I've done like 27 miles this week. You know, cumulative. 26 miles, mostly off-road, is probably equivalent to about 1 1/3 or 1 1/2 road marathons. That's not bad. That's not bad. I am like, oh no, it's starting. It's starting. I've got to my loopy face. This always happens to me when I'm like really tired in an event. I start to feel like slightly delirious, a little bit euphoric, a little bit like wobbly, and it's like I'm drunk or something. And my brain just starts being really silly. I've no idea what causes it. Is it some kind of like the body's defense mechanism? I don't know. Oh, that sun coming through the trees is nice and warm in my butt. Ooh, ooh. Pretend I didn't do that. Yeah, I'm like really happy all of a sudden for no good reason. I just feel like smiling. Maybe I'm broken. There's maybe something. If anybody can explain this phenomenon, let me know. Delirium. Delightful delirium. Maybe it's just because I'm in under the trees and it's warm. I'm warm now. It's cozy, cozy. Right, shut up, Stephen. Just put the phone. That's not a phone. That's a camera. Put the. Woo! Stop it! You're making a fool of yourself. Jeez. This way. Right. This shall be my last water stop, I think. It's not a bad place to stop for 5 minutes. That's it. Get all that agricultural runoff into my bottle. That's me down to, well, almost out of nutrition. I've got 1 gel left and I got 1 bottle left. No, I've got 2 bottles left. So it's a total of 600 calories left to finish off another 2 hours. Is that right? Nearly right. I should have about 800, but yeah, I'm quite good with pretty good following my nutrition plan today, which usually doesn't happen. Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm not talking in the forest. Look at that. Look at that. Not a bad spot to hit 19 miles into this. That's look at that. Still running up steps, 19 miles in. Whew. Oh, actually, the steps took it at me. I'm gonna walk for a bit. Right, we're nearly out of Tollymore. I'm cold again. So I'm in the shade. I think actually this combination on top wasn't the best option. I think I should have worn my Harrier Merino base layer with the t-shirt and went onto this over the top of it. I think it would have been better for heat management, because this has been fine when the sun's out, but once it gets cold, I felt kind of cold, whereas the base layer would have been a bit warmer, and then I could have taken the t-shirt on and off if I needed a bit of wind resistance, a bit of wind cutting. Good experiment. Woo! How am I feeling? 22 miles in. Pretty good, pretty tired. Been on my feet for 6.5 hours. It's really weird when you compare trail running to road running. You know, if I was like doing a marathon, I'd be 22 miles into the marathon after like 3.5 hours, maybe 3 hours. I did an entire marathon in 3.5 hours. That's my fastest time. So to be out doing 22 miles in 6.5 hours, when I was doing road running, I would have done 22 miles in, 3 hours. Seems like, less than half the time. Seems kind of crazy, but that's the difference in terrain. Stop talking. No one cares. Fine. We're nearly out of the forest. Nearly back down to Newcastle. 6.5 hours in. I have another hour. Well, I have another at least half an hour I need to do of running. My plan was 7 to 7.5 hours. So I'll see when I get to Newcastle, finish the morning way, what I'm going to decide to do next. But if I put in another 4 miles, that'll be me having done a cheeky marathon today. Sunshine awaits. Calf starting to spasm a little bit. Just stop, stretch it out, wait for it to ease off, and keep going. Whoa, a lion! 2 lions! Oh no. The way is shut. The way is shut, and those who keep it are dead. I just walk around the side of it, really. Can ditch some of these wrappers. I've got an entire recycling centre in my pocket. Look at that. Oh no. There we go.
Before the sun appears, before the world has even stirred. Let's get
According to the distance I've done, that's me finished the morning way, but there was no, I must have missed it. There must have been a starting line I missed. So I've done 24 miles and I've got an optional 30 minutes to go, so I figure I've done this distance, I might as well finish off and do a marathon while I'm at it. I'm not sure what's worse, wading through bog or dodging pedestrians on the boardwalk. Down onto the beach. I wanted to run on the beach a couple of weeks ago and I mistimed it so the tide was in, so it feels rather fitting to finish a good chunk of this run at the last mile or so on the beach.
Let's get lost together. Let's go chase that postcard. Wish you were here. Weather Let's get lost together.
Oh, look at that light in the sky. 25 miles. Sprint finish on the beach. Woo. 26.4 miles. Marathon distance. I am pretty pleased with that. Pretty pleased with that. 3,600 calories apparently I burned today. My stomach totally fine, haven't had any issues, so I think I finally nailed the right combination. Tailwind in the bottles, and basically have one of those bottles about every couple of hours in this weather. I drank 3 full litres of water with tailwind in it today, and then I had 7, I can't remember the exact numbers now, but I had about 7 of those gels in between. Nothing else, no sweet treats, no other snacks. I think sadly, just with my stomach being so unpredictable, that's just how it's gonna have to be. I'm gonna try and not break my ankle on the walk back. Gonna get myself back to the van. I'm gonna eat some, well, I don't know if I actually need to take on board any more sugar. I've had so much of it today. I need to eat some, I'm gonna have some proteins, some carbohydrates before I head home. And yeah, that's gonna be my last running video before the actual ultramarathon. I do have another couple of runs before, a few runs before then, but I just want to give a bit of breathing space on the channel. So the next time you see me out doing distance, it's going to be the race itself. So I'll see you then. I just found out that my race has been cancelled. I was supposed to do a 5.5 hour run today. I got here after finding the news yesterday, and I couldn't face it. Just my desire, my enthusiasm to run and train, just gone. I've gone for a 30-minute walk instead and shot parts of a video I was working on. I'm just totally deflated. Aura Events, who are behind the Northern Traverse, who are behind the Dragon's Back race and behind Salomon Skyline, ceased trading yesterday. I found out about it about 30 minutes before it went public, and as much as I'm disappointed, I'm absolutely gutted for the staff that work for them. There were some of them I'd been dealing with, and they were great, and they're unemployed today, so that makes my inconvenience pale in comparison. But nonetheless, it is a disappointment to have spent this much time training and then find out that the event I was training for is no longer happening, and I don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do. There's part of me, I've got some options. There's part of me wants to go and do the route anyway. Just turn up, do the route, get it done and make a video. I mean, why not? I've got my ferry booked, I've got hotels booked. Why not use it? And there's some other people who are doing that. But my hotel and my ferry, they're all refundable, and it's costing me in travel and hotels and expenses £500-600 to go and do this. So I'd be spending £500-600 plus it's a 16-hour round trip for me to get there to go and do a non-event, and it's not going to be the same, you know. Even if I end up running with other people, I doubt I'll end up running the whole thing with people, so there's a good possibility I'll end up just completely on my own for long stretches, and the entire time I'll just be reminded that this isn't as good as it should have been, and then I'll get to the finish line and big anticlimax. So I don't know what to do. There's part of me thinks I should still go and do it, and there's a part of me saying no, it's so much money, it doesn't make any sense to go and do it, you should do something else. I think my options are go and do it anyway, as I've said, find another event. But the problem with finding another event is that I only really committed to training to be able to race for the first 3 months of this year. Now, I do want to keep up my long distance ability, but more kind of broken up, you know, over several days, because I want to do fast packing. I don't want to do any more long, really long 5-6 hour runs on Fridays, and psychologically I'm done. I don't think I can push. I did my long run last week, and yeah, I just don't have it in me to keep pushing training to do a race that's maybe in 2 months' time, and there's nothing really within the next few weeks, so that kind of rules that out. My other option is to, well, one of the reasons I was doing this was to build up my long distance ability in general, so that I could go and do multi-day fast packing events, long distance trails. So maybe I go and do that instead. Maybe I get refunded, maybe I find a trail, maybe somewhere in Ireland, and go and do it over 2-3 days, the same length of time that I would have been away doing that event, and that way I get maybe 2-3 videos out of it. The other thing was, I was being paid to make the official race vlog. It's been sponsored by the event organizer, so I'd be losing out a decent chunk financially if I went and just did it off my own bat. I'm leaning towards doing the multi-day fast packing trip instead. I had planned on doing one later in the year anyway, but maybe a longer, like 4-day one. But maybe I can go and do a 2-nighter, 3 days, 2-nighter instead in the meantime, and take you all somewhere interesting with me. But I can't help but feel really guilty and think I should go and do the race route anyway. What do you think I should do? What do you think I should do? Let me know down in the comments. I'm going to make a decision within the next couple of days. But thanks for coming along on my training anyway. I need to remind myself it's not wasted. I keep thinking it's wasted. It's not wasted. It's never wasted. If I hadn't done that training, my fitness wouldn't be anywhere near what it is now. So it's never a waste to do training, but it is a little bit disappointing. It is a little bit soul destroying. And right now, I just feel like I cannot be bothered doing anything energetic. It's stupid brain.